Okay, folks, our project for today is kind of making a mold for these little tails. These little tails are what goes on the back of these little Tikla buzz frogs. That is the little tail that goes on there that I use so much. Well, here's one that's all set up right. Okay, that's perfect. That's the right little tail. It's the right little deal. I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to make some more. But I mean, the process, I tried a double deal. I tried the double tail, and that kind of didn't work. But then I had another Spro frog. It was called the glider model, and it has a hole right down the center. So I put my swivel in that, and guess what? Hey, this Spro frog works just as good, if not better, than this Tikla frog. Anyway, so what I'm going to do, I was running short of tails because the pike get the tails and they fall off, and all kind of things happen to the tail. So I'm going to make tails. Okay, to make tails, what I've done is I've taken these tails, and you notice in the side of these Legos, I made this little box out of Legos. And in doing so, I made that box. I super glued these tails to that piece of aluminum that's on the bottom. And then I took this modeling clay. Okay, that's modeling clay, and it's just all gooey. And I put it to the bottom of that. You can see it how I put it on the Lego, so it sticks to the bottom of that. So now the silicone, I'm going to pour silicone in there to make a mold. Okay, so I got the silicone right here, but first of all, the mold's ready to go. Again, it's all set up, and it's going to be a two-piece mold, and I'll explain how to do that in just a minute. But now, to do that, first thing I have to do is pour some silicone in this cup. I'm going to do that kind of carefully. I don't want to put too much in there. I'm just going to put a little bit. That ought to be enough. That's enough right there. I'm going to have to... I'm recording. Okay, get this all ready to go. Put this back on there, and I'm gonna try to record this little episode here. Now I put 10%. The other deal is this is the reactor to the silicone. So I have the raw silicone in that cup right there. And now I'm going to add 10% of volume, which, okay, that's about 10%. I don't know. It's close enough. I'm going to take a stick. I'm going to stir the whole thing up. When it gets really one consistency, I got about an hour to work with this. It takes about an hour maybe to get that silicone all ready to go. Okay. Make a silicone mold. Now the beautiful thing about a silicone mold, it'll last a long, long time. It'll have an aluminum top. Now here's a similar kind of thing I did. I poured it in that whole tomato can, and I made a silicone mold for a single helicopter. Now, of course, I got the helicopters here I've made as well. And I put a plate on, and I'll explain all that, how that plate works. But I have this injector that I fill with hot plastic, and that's what injects it into the mold. So it's going to be a two-piece mold. The first thing I have to do is stir it up good. So we might have to skip ahead to the next little portion here. Okay, I'm going to take my little stir, and I'm going to pour the mold. And I'm just going to come over here, and I'm just going to pour it right into that cavity as best I can. It's all silicone. Going to harden real well. I know a guy. By the way, all these chemicals all these products come from a company called LureWorks, and LureWorks is actually a division of Spike It, and all these products are these colors here. I like the Spike It colors that that I use for my plastic worms. And in fact, with the plastisol that I use, that's all from Lure Works. I've just got my silicone all ready to go. Now to take this apart, these Legos come apart. So I'm going to take my little penknife and start one going and just start getting the Legos out of there. It's not the easiest thing in the world sometimes, but anyway, we're getting all this silicone out of here. It pulls right off of these Legos. Legos clean up pretty easy. And so I'll be getting all this out in a minute. I'll trim this mold up quite a bit. See, now there's the bottom. There's the bottom of the deals. I'll pull those out here in a minute, and I'll show you what I got as I get these off. And these kind of pull out. I get all this stuff all pulled off. And this is all silicone, and I can trim this up pretty easy. But here's the deal. Once I pull these out, like this, watch this. I'll pull this out right here. I'll pull this out of the mold. Put it out of the mold. Oh. Okay, I got the perfect thing out. Now, what I'll do is I don't have it ready to go yet because I have to make my little injector plate, which goes on the top, which is out of this this aluminum. I'll cut that little thing out and I'll put some holes in the back and I'll have it ready to inject. So that's my next step. For right now, I'm just going to pull these legs out, and I just pull it out slow and easy. Boom. The thing about the silicone, it's just, it kind of bends and it pulls right out. Okay, so I'll just kind of clean this mold up, and our next step will be to take my my area here. You can see what I have here. I have an aluminum plate. I have to cut my holes, and I'll have an aluminum plate now that'll go on the top. It'll have an injector hole like this. See, that's an injector hole for just a single mold. That would be the injector hole for just this mold here. And I'll take the injector, put it in here. Anyway, give me a few minutes and I'll come back. I'll come back with you and I'll have the plate made for the injector top. What I've done is I've cut this little piece out of here, out of this piece of aluminum, and then I've come along with the drill and I'm drilling holes in the thing for the injector. Now I have to make it a beveled edge, so I'm going to put this large here, and I'm going to make these holes so the injector fits down in there. Okay, I've done this injector plate. This plate now is ready to go. The injector will fit in those little holes. I'll put that right over the mold. Hey, and we're ready to go. So let's get out here and try it. See, now the molds will be ready to pour right there. The injector, I can inject it right now like that. So I need to make up some resin. Well, I don't need resin in this case. I need the plastisol, so I got the plastisol in this jug, and I'm going to go and pour the plastisol I'm gonna do a white. I'm gonna do a white. I think what I'm gonna do is put a brand new plastisol in there. Oh, that white would be fine. That white would be fine. I think I'll just heat this up. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll come over to the microwave, and I'm just going to put in this in there for a couple minutes and heat it up. I'm going to go with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to start with. With this injector plate, it doesn't look like much, but see what happens is that this injector will now go into that recess right there, and it'll be a perfect little deal for that, and it'll be just right. Okay, the next step is I'm going to take this plate and I'm going to just put some tape on it just to kind of hold it temporarily in position. And I'll just take that plate like this, and I'll just pull it up here like this and cut it off right here. Okay, now that will be just all set up for the injector now. Now, I heated this up. Let's see if it's heated up enough. Got my white all ready to go here. Stir it up. Let's make a run. I think we're going to try it. I'm going to go ahead and take my injector, put my injector down in the plastic, draw up enough plastic, go to my mold, put it right on my mold spot, push it down, coming out there, coming out there, coming out there. Doesn't look like much. Let that dry. Now, all this plastic, now here's the deal. All this plastic that you see on this injector, for example, this all comes off. It all goes back into the deal. And I take my gloves, and I take a pair of gloves like this and come and undo this little deal here. I just undo this, pull it out, and I have more plastic there. Drop it in there, push this up, more plastic here, put that in there. My injector now is ready to go. It's all ready to rock and roll for a second injection. All this plastic is good. All reusable. So look, you know, a big deal is when you're out there plastic worm fishing, and say you like a green pumpkin plastic worm, well, you can buy the Silicone molds from these people, and you can pour your own green pumpkin Silicos, just like you've been using with the tore up worm. Just melt it down like I'm done right here. Get an injector, get one of the molds. They cost, I don't know, different amounts of money, and pour your own Silicos again, just a second time. Now I'm gonna let this dry a little bit. Pull this one out. Let me pull this one out of the mold. There we go. Okay, now let me see. There's just a little bit of a spare. There's just a little bit of stuff on the side, so I can trim it real easily. Now it's a little bit softer than it'll be when I let it harden for a day. It'll be a whole lot harder. But you can see how with these scissors, I can trim it to the exact size. I can trim it to the exact size of the original one. Okay. Now, there's my, well, one little blemish there. Let me just show you an original one. Okay, here's an original one. Now, that thing, except for a few little imperfections, it's the same size. It's the same, everything's the same. And again, I'll work on cleaning that mold up, and I'll get a good thing, and I'll harden this up, and it'll be hard. But it's basically just like this original, and I can make them in all colors. So I'll enjoy doing that. Listen, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed doing it. We're learning together. It's a lot of fun doing the soft plastic stuff, and I'm learning just like you are. And so, you know, maybe we can have a lot of fun doing it. Listen, I post every Wednesday about 6 o'clock, and I post every Sunday at about 6 o'clock. And I sure need your subscription to continue doing what I do, because it's just a part of the game. But I do really enjoy you watching, so thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.